Okay, George, go ahead.
Thank you. So my question for homework five, I think I generally understand what you'd like us to do, but in the example that you gave us, I think you're using multiple virtual inheritance. So do we need to change that like for every situation, or should we use like if like the if defined like the if defined tag thingies?
Let me actually go to my code, the memory layout part. Okay, let me actually write down the question. So, George, your question is whether you have several. I have several like virtual inheritance, and also I hear you saying that the if def, right?
Yeah, basically, should we use if def to like create the different inheritance
Okay.
hierarchies?
Okay. Let me actually answer this part first. If def, you can use if def to create different parts, and then in the make file, you have to control that to create different version of program, which I can show you that in a moment. But you also can just create separate program. Just create multiple program. There a lot of similarity, but that's okay. But it's good for you if you want to try to use if dev to create one version of program, which I will show you how to do that. Okay. All right, George. Let me go to the next. Pernita, what's your question?
My question was about the print statements that we were doing. So my partner and I were working on the project, and we got like the first part of it to print correctly as we wanted it to, but the second, like if you're looking at the homework assignment itself, you see like the numbers on the side, the zeros, eights, 48. Until the 8, we got it to print, but then after that, the numbers aren't printing correctly, but the statements are. And I was just wondering if you had any suggestions for that. I was I think we were considering that we would have to add more classes. Like right now, all our print statements are an IoT thing, but do we have to add, or sorry, in they're in ML
It,
IoT
it,
thing that's
it,
taking
it
place.
shouldn't be, but I think I can take a look at your code. I mean, if you don't mind, I can take a look code in front of everybody. And that I want to point out. Yeah, I let me take a look at your code in a moment. I'm actually write down your questions, so I'm going to answer the question one by one. Okay. Right now,
Okay,
what's your
yeah.
question? Reina, are you here? Okay. Let's
Sorry, I didn't know I was on mute.
no problem. Yeah, please. What's your question, Reina?
Um, so you know how you had like the test in the files
Mm-hmm.
or in the GitHub? Is it exactly like that format? Because I noticed, or because you said we had to add the address and then, but it or whatever like the test prints out, it looks like the address is already there. And my second question was about like the D, like the dash capital D flag
Okay.
because
Yeah, that's
I couldn't get
similar
it
to
to
the
work.
if def.
Yeah.
That's similar to if def. So you talk about the format, the output format. I will clarify that. Okay, Christopher, what's your question?
I put it in like the chat too. I've been having an issue with like the memory layout thing. So like like the line in the make file with the f dumps record layout. I keep running into a compiler error where it says it doesn't recognize the command line option -cc1.
Okay. That's basically when you try to use the dash CC1, it doesn't give you the
It's
right
yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah, it says error unrecognized command line option.
Okay. All right. I better let you guys share your screen so I can actually see your screen. Let me actually see what I can do. Okay. I'm actually going the question one by one. So the first question, let me try to go to George's question. Um, let me actually bring up just want to make sure I say things correctly. This is homework assignment number 5. Okay, so George, your first question, I'm actually talking about this four cases, right? So the most complicated cases is I have a virtual inheritance of which is the IoT thing, which is inherit both from thing and another thing. And then I have a multiple inheritance with thing and another thing. And then I have a single inheritance, means it's just IoT thing to thing. And then single virtual inheritance is, so the line that I think, let me actually first write it down. I feel the code will looks like this. The four cases is going to be class, IoT thing, public thing. That's the case number one. So the case number two is going to be public virtual thing. And case number three is public thing, public another thing. By the way, another thing is identical to thing in this case. And then the final one is virtual thing and public virtual another thing. So the assignment, basically, you need to have this four cases test out, but it's all test out on the memory layout for the class IoT thing. You don't need to worry about any other class, but just print out the IoT thing itself, okay? Does that address your first question, George? Are you here? Okay. Anyway, George is probably muted. Okay. Hassan, what's your question?
Hi, Professor. I just wanted to confirm something on my end. Can I show my screen?
Hold on. Just for a moment. For sharing screen, I will some kind of share screen. I will actually go over this question a bit later. I'll get to you. Okay. Just hold on. Okay. So I assume that George is doing fine. So now I'm actually going to do, how do I do if def? Okay, so I'm going to do this because this will cover Reina's question as well. So I will say if define case 01, okay, and then and if. So I'm going to do this the simplest way to do that, okay? So I actually can declare this way. I'm not even using else. I just using this. This is just fine. So you can actually write 4 files, and you don't have to do this, by the way. So you have 4 different functions, but you can also encode everything in one single file with 4 different cases using using this preprocessing label to actually be able to do that. Okay, so you can see that I actually have a for if def and if, so means that if I actually can control the flag correctly, for example, over here, if I say define case 01, in front of that, that means, okay, all of them will be ignored except the first one. Okay, so that's the way to do it. But there is, as Reina mentioned, there is a -d flag that you can actually do something for this. Okay, so what do I mean by -d flag? So I have to look at go to the make file. If you go to the make file, so here is something you can do. I typically put it in the C flag. The way I do it is that I say minus D case 0, 1, sorry, 0, 1, like this. And I actually have a 4 line here. And I'm going to comment out. So by the way, in makefile is a £, is basically say it's a comment. So I can do this. You can see that if when I do this line, if I say minus capital D and whatever over here, this is equivalent to do define case 0, 1. Okay, this and this, they're the same. So you can either do it in the program, in the function, or you can actually do it in the in this C flag as well. Or you can actually even decide to put a different kind of C flag. You can call it C flag 1, C flag 2. So you can actually generate all 3 of them at the same time, but you want to name them differently. So you can actually play some trick within makefile to do that as well. I typically don't like to play too much trick on C flag. That's why I have a multiple line. And then I just basically whatever executable I need to generate, I just pick that one line. Okay. Reina, does that answer your question? Okay.
I got kicked off of I'll go back.
Okay. You miss some section that I just explained,
I couldn't really hear you.
okay, no problem. I recorded. Okay, I recorded. You can
Okay.
actually take a look.
Mhm.
Let me go over to the next question. If you have more questions, let me we'll go back to this. Okay. So Pranita said you have some question about print statement error, right?
Yeah, it's not giving me an error. It's just not printing what I like the sample output that you gave.
Okay. So can you do you mind sharing screen or sharing that particular few lines of code? Can I take a look at your code for that few line?
Sure. Let me just open up the correct.
If you don't feel comfortable, we can do in the breakout room later. That's okay too. But you if you can share partially, I don't need your whole program, just want that particular line. You think that it has some problem, so so I can actually just take a look at that particular line.
Yeah, 1 second.
Take your time. So Mira, sorry,
There we go.
I actually forgot. Mira, what's your question?
I have something similar to Bernita, like my output is not quite similar to the one that you gave in the example. Like I'm
Okay.
missing the last 2 lines.
Okay. Can you also
Mine?
just cut those 2 lines and then I can see? Hey, let me see. Do I allow everybody to share? Yeah, I allow anybody. Hey, Pranita, if you can actually show that to the screen or actually send it to the chat, that would be great.
Can you not see my shared screen?
No, I cannot see your share screen. Oh, no, I'm sorry, my bad. It's because I'm okay, now I can see your screen. Sorry about
Okay. It's okay.
that. Which line?
So basically over here in your version of the code, there's different numbers over here, but mine are all like zeros. And I was wondering why this was happening and I wasn't receiving the right numbers.
Okay, let me take a look.
All of this is the same that I got,
right.
but this is different.
No, yeah, that I actually start to see the problem. So you have a class core, right?
Yeah.
You have a class core. That is class core was actually generated by line 22, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to do a different way. Can you unshare your screen?
Okay.
Okay, this is something which is I I mentioned, but I didn't actually emphasize, but I think is good for me to emphasize this now. I think that program is here. Okay, so Pernita,
Yeah.
see how I actually get the offset for core. I didn't use the 0 to get a core, but instead I actually used this way. You see what I did is that I actually have 2 pointer. One is called IoT thing pointer. By the way, this code is also in the same repository memory layout. The code is ML IoT thing. If you go to the code, I actually declare a few pointer, IoT thing pointer, core pointer, and generic pointer. And in this case, what I did is I assign the first byte of the object, my IoT thing, I actually assign to IoT thing pointer. And I actually take a look, take the original one, and then casting with a core reference, and take the address, I put it into core pointer. And then the offset is actually using the core casting long minus IoT thing. So essentially, I'm actually taking the difference between this 2 pointer. And just be honest with you, the reason when I look at your code, I actually also try what you have done. But for core C++, the compiler, if you have a polymorphism, it seems to me they cannot handle the offset correctly. So that's why using this one is actually when you have that kind of situation, using this way, you can actually calculate the offset correctly. So this way will always work for like a calculating. Does that
okay.
make, yeah, you can take a look at code, but replace whatever you wrote to this part. The
Okay.
core pointer minus IoT thing. But of course you have to do this 2 line as well.
Okay.
Okay. That should take care of your problem. Okay. Mira, is that also helping you?
Not quite.
So Mira, do you mind if you want to share your screen? Sorry, the whatever piece of code that's actually causing problem, maybe I can help you to take a look.
Sure, I just wanted to confirm, like, let me share my screen. So this is the output that I have from, and it just it doesn't quite look like the one that you have in the example.
Is this a single inheritance case?
Yeah, this is the single.
Yeah, single inheritance. It looks fine actually.
So I don't need to add like the size and the things that you have in the
Yeah,
bottom.
you don't need to worry about the size. Those part you don't worry. Sorry.
Okay.
Just the first few lines is fine.
And
But
so
hold on 1 second.
sure.
Yeah, I have some trouble understand the layout because if you look at this core is 0, that's right. Class ID I actually is a 0. So you see your and mine is a little bit different. Because the class ID, yours is 8, but mine is 0. And then I have a model, so it's not quite exactly follow. Do you mind if I look at your source code for those few lines?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Mira, I think you have a similar issue with Pernita's. The issue is that for the core, for the thing is the first object, you can use the 0 to do that. But for the core, you actually that particular option, it might not work. I just want to say it might not work. So it might be better for use a similar approach like what I present, to using the pointer and calculate the difference, to calculate the offset between those two.
Okay, and you said for the core that I need to use the 0?
Yeah, so can you unshare your screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm actually going to do. Okay, so now I can actually go back to do this. So let me first go to IoT thing. Let me do the simple one, okay? If define virtual thing, what did I have? Okay, I'm actually going to do this one. Just the single inheritance without virtual. Let me try to compile it, and I try to run the program. Okay, so this is the result, right? This is the result, but I didn't. Does this similar to yours?
I think I have more lines than this.
Right, because I didn't actually print out every single line. Okay, so that's fine. I'm actually going to just actually do the. I'm going to add the line to do the core part. Okay, so my program, I kind of show you segments, so I stop here. But let's actually try to generate. What's the name? Class ID. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that was the one that was printing
Yeah.
8 and I'm supposed to be 0.
Yeah, that's. Let me take a look at the core. Because I forgot whether this core this code is written for virtual or regular. Okay, so class ID is the first one, right? Okay, I got it. Okay, let me tell you that what I'm going to do is this. You can see that this line, let me put this way so you can see that this is the code I just modified. So I'm going to turn out this 2 line here. So this line is just print the core pointer, okay? The core object offset. But here I want to the next line, I want to do core, what do you call class ID offset, okay? So let me actually show you how I can do this. So I'm going to create another pointer. I call core star. What is a class ID, by the way? Class ID, it's okay. I would just say core star another core. And this one, I'm actually going to see equal to this one. Okay, so essentially this is just like the previous core. I just call it another core. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to take a look at this one is another core, and it's a core pointer, so I can actually point to class ID. So this will connect to that, and then I put an M sign to get the address. Okay, and then into this, and then this is going to be and another core to the class ID. You know what? I'm going to make a new line. Okay, so let's actually take a look at this view line. Let's take a look at what I'm doing. Here, I'm trying to print the offset and the address of the variable class ID. So how do I do that? For the offset, you can see that I get the address of that class ID itself, the address of another core to the class ID, and then convert that to a long minus the beginning, which is the IoT thing pointer at the first byte. So when you take this difference, this is the offset, and this is the address of that particular ID. So let's actually try to compile and see how it works. Okay, this two line, you can see that according to the class core is actually started at offset 40. And the class core, the second line, this shouldn't be class core. This should be the whatever the ID is actually 48 is being printed over here. Okay. You know why there is an 8 byte is, I believe, is because class core has a V table. If, let me see, if the core has the core, yeah, the core has a virtual table. That's why I add this here. So let me actually remember, hold on. If you remember this one, this 2 is 40, 48, right? So now if I go over here to the core.h, if I actually get rid of this virtual pointer, and then now they're the same. Because why? Because it's no longer, doesn't have a virtual function. It no longer, the core doesn't have a V table. So now these two are actually the same. Does that make sense, Mira?
Yeah, so the only thing that I would try to fix, like using your method, is just to have the class ID to be 0, not
Yeah,
like the
so
number
that might be a trouble if you do a class ID with that 0. For some of the situation it works, but for when it touches inheritance, and sometimes the compiler cannot convert it as I expect, at least. Yeah. But I will post this video so you can actually take a look how I actually handle this part. Okay.
Mhm. And you mentioned that we can, like, do we need to do them like in a different 4 files, or
Yeah, you can
like,
write 4 different. You can see that over here. I only have a 1 file. I said ML IoT thing. You can actually name your file different. You can have 4 different file instead of using if dev. You can do that as well. That's fine. But then you need to modify your make file. So your make file will be able to compile 4 different files with 4 different rules.
okay, and should it compile like all of them like at one time, or for the TA to compile each one of them differently? Or
It's better that if you can just say make all, and then all will include. I mean, for example, if I have a make file, you can see that the make file, the first rule is an all rule, right? So now you can see that my makefile is only compiled the first program, which is a memory layout test 0, and memory layout test 0 is one of the rule I have. But I can make this to multiple is just do like this. I can actually say, if I do this, it will actually compile multiple target.
Got it.
You can play this kind of trick, okay? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, let's see. Question. Christopher, did I address your question? Christopher,
Not yet. Yeah, I'm still here.
okay. So, okay, you have a minus CC1 problem. Can you share your screen if
I shouldn't have modified it. It's like I didn't modify it. I changed what file I guess it's coming from, but I think it's a compiler error. I didn't really change the code. Do you need me to share it? Because I didn't change it. It should be the same as the one from the
I want to
GitHub.
take a look at your arrow, and maybe that helped me to understand what's going on.
I put it in the chat. It's error unrecognized command line option CC1.
No, you don't need to share your screen. I can take a look at this. Okay, 1 second. Let me actually share my screen again. So let's take a look. The way I do it is that this is the way I use my oh, I know, Christopher. When you do this, are you using my makefile?
Yeah.
Then it should works. Because the only way it might not work is the following. Okay, they're sensitive. If I actually change, for example, if you do, just to let you know, if you do G++ minus STD equal to C++ 14, and then you set minus CC1, it won't work. It will say.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So, okay, so let me actually tell you, let me modify my makefile, okay? If you take a look at my makefile, if I do make, I say IoT, this is the rule, right? My IoT thing layout. If I do make, okay, so this will actually generate no problem, right? But now I actually change this to if I do like this, or do like a minus G or whatever, it will say unknown argument. Okay, so I just want to tell you that it's very, very strict that CC1 has to be the first argument, and then the second argument then becomes this one, C++ 14. So this 3, you cannot put anything else over here. This 3 has to come in this order right after G++.
Yeah, I didn't modify it. The only thing I changed is the .cpp file. So it works off mine because I just renamed it.
Okay.
But other than that,
let's do a check. Okay, you just copy this part.
yes.
Okay, just copy this part, and Wait a minute. I might make a. One second. Yeah, it works this way. So why, if I do this way? Hold on 1 second. Let me actually do this. If I do this, yeah, it works. So why? I'm gonna just try it. Yeah, it still works. But why I actually get rid of this? It actually invalid argument. Okay, anyway. So if you do like just this part, does it generate the same kind of error message if you do this part, like what I did here?
No, it's a different error message. Like I said, it's supposed to be unrecognized command line option -cc1.
Yeah,
Is that something wrong with my installation? Because it seems to like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's can you try this one as well? Let me try this one. Can you try CLAN?
Which one is it? Could you just copy paste in the chat? Oh, CLAN. Okay.
CLAN. Just try CLAN. CLANG.
Okay. It tells me it's not found. CLAN not found.
So you actually, what environment do you have? It's a Mac or it's a WSL?
It's like Ubuntu.
Ubuntu. Let me see. Let me check. So maybe your CLAN is not being installed. Yeah, you can do sudo apt install CLAN-9. I think that is the way to. Oh no, don't install C. There is a CLAN CLAN 10. Yeah, you can do this using whatever apt get interface and try to do a Google on how to install CLAN CLANG. I think that might be a problem because your environment, you don't have the CLAN. I thought CLAN should be installed together with G++, but for some reason, I don't know why, but you might want to try it to see if you just install CLAN and CLAN will have CC1. CC1 essentially is redirect C++ to CLAN. So just let you know. Okay. Hassan, do you have any question?
Thank you very much, Professor.
You're welcome. Yeah, let me know, Christopher. Okay, if that will work for you. Hassan, you have a question?
Hey, Professor. I just wanted to confirm something just to make sure I got the idea.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Let me share. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So I just used the file you gave us and I made 4 header here.
Good.
So I got single, virtual, multiple, and then I also made 4 different CPP, which includes the different virtual files. And then my makefile produces 4. Let me just show 4 different executable
Sounds great.
Objects.
Sounds great.
So these are the ones, but they all look the same to me. So I don't know if it's working or.
Just let me take a look at this.
Yeah. I put the file name in the front so I can tell them apart, but.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I take a look at this. Can I take a look your core.h? Yeah, you actually, I forgot to remove that because line 22, it is there, then it's actually going to make everybody looks the same. But that's okay. That's okay. You don't have to remove it. TA has to figure out what you have and take a look at that. Can I go back to your result? So just a question. You didn't, why there is no, can I go back to your core.h again? So you see that core.h has a class ID, right?
Yeah.
There is a class ID, but in your result, I don't see class ID address being printed.
Oh
You
yeah,
see
I
that?
haven't made many changes. I just wasn't sure if even this was correct or not before.
Right. No,
Yeah, there's a
I mean, it's the output should be, yeah, the output should be similar to this format, but it's actually have a 4 different version. You have to use CLAN to actually produce that, and then check whether that output is actually the number of line is similar to that.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. So if you guys have more questions, I will be helping you tomorrow or Friday. Right now I probably have to go. I will upload the video. Okay. Thank you very much. And I
Oh,
will.
Professor,
Yes,
I just
Mira.
wanted to confirm that you got my email for homework 4. I don't know if you remember, I was the one talking to you like the midterm after I turned in my midterm.
Yes, I got your homework for it. Yes.
Yeah, you just said that you just gonna like
Right. Don't worry.
CC
I'll
the
handle
TE.
that.
Okay,
I will handle that. Yeah. No
cool. Thank you
problem.
so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, I have to finish the recording.